Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'm your host Larry, and today I'm going to be talking about the future of Subnautica 2 and what kinds of materials we might expect in future expansions to the game's repertoire of explorable areas and buildable, craftable machines. Now, these are all things that are in the game right now, in the game files, but that does not necessarily mean we will ever see them in the game in a meaningful way, and I'm certain that we'll not see them as they currently exist in the test files. So these are things like, a little while ago I discovered there is actually a piece of bismuth floating in the game. You can actually see this right now. The coordinates are literally right here on the screen right now in the lower corner, if you want to check that out. It's just to the north of the alien power plant, like, disk area, floating in the water, and it's just above one of the black boxes down there by this little piece of rock that leads to the north, where the acid pools are over there. So with that in mind, I was looking at this, and I was like, I wonder what other kind of machinery parts are in this game for, like, raw materials, because bismuth is used for, you know, like making alloys of manganese to use with like magnets and specialty motors and fine-tuned machining, electronic devices, thermoelectric devices. And we know that the new Trident submarine is going to need to do stuff with recharging at a thermal plant, so this might be important to repair the Trident submarine in the not-too-distant future. So I started respawning a bunch of different stuff that I'd played around with before. So we've got things like over here, we've got an arrow cyst. I'm not sure what it is, but the current icon for an arrow cyst doesn't really exist. And when you put it on the ground, it just kind of looks like a gray egg. You've got like a big ferrofluid crystal. Just ignore the giant graffiti pop-up that shows up occasionally. I tried to spawn what was labeled as graffiti, and it's invisible and quite large. So there's like a ferrofluid crystal that you can mess around with. It's like a crystal, but it acts like magnetic ferrofluid like we have in real life, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of holds this funny little shape. And then we've got some other stuff that's kind of interesting. We've got down here, remember those tar fields that are kind of all over just beneath the lava zone where the Collector Leviathan hangs out in that sort of, little ravine between the starter area and the rest of the game? Well, there's this sludge ooze that you can pick up. It's a little piece of sludge ooze, and when you drop it, it kind of glows a little bit. It's kind of like blue, kind of looks like a little wad of specialty tar, and that could be just like a byproduct that you need to use in order to make certain types of rubber or gaskets or any type of like petroleum byproducts to fuel power or seal different systems. We've got some other stuff like lithium grains. I've never really thought about lithium grains before. That might actually be a thing. Oh, I guess lithium grains actually are a thing in real life. Lithium grains are microscopic crystalline structures that form within the lithium metal of battery anodes. They dictate how the metal ions deposit and move during charging and discharging. So these might actually be used to upgrade some of our batteries later. I did notice that there's this funny little device here that's like a battery dispenser device of some kind that I can move around. It's a funny little box. It's like, yeah, that's all it is like a battery dispenser device that I found in the files while I was respawning things. It's one of the new portable carry boxes, although currently there's no way to really interact with it. But I'm thinking that there's definitely some devices here, some materials here that you'll be able to use to make better equipment. And there's also things like this disperser, which I wonder if that's going to disperse some sort of chemical in the future to kill some of the viral plague that infects some of the angel combs. And then we've got pudding urchins. I don't know if that's specifically going to be a building material so much as a food source, but it kind of looks like the explosion that happens the split second before an atom bomb goes off. There's also an organic matter sample. And I do know there's an organic matter sampling kit, a biosampler kit that you can't spawn right now. That's also listed in the game files on the wiki. So I think we're going to end up having to do some additional research on the DNA and the organic structures on some of the Axum technology later. Because this whole generator, when you scan it in the main storyline, so little spoilers here, tells you that the Axum grew this metal around using like an organic material to place the metal on a frame and then put it all together. Then after that, we've got some nickel, and nickel's used in a whole kinds of stuff from manufacturing to like, well, unfortunately, like toys, which is why it's bad for kids to get like certain paints from certain toys on their hands and why there's been a lot of recalls. But usually nickel is like used to create like fancier, thicker, heavier alloys. It also looks kind of green and glowy, so this actually could also be a placeholder for uranium in the future. We might see some of the nuclear reactors starting to come back. Speaking of things that are coming back, there's also a thing in the game for diamond, so we might be seeing some of the diamond reinforced materials and equipment coming back from Subnautica 1 and 2. I know there was a hardened blade at one point in Subnautica 1 that you can't get anymore. One of my old saves that I deleted had one of them in it. So that might be interesting. And then there's this, the Fordite. I don't know that Fordite is going to be a thing in the game, because Fordite, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Fordite is actually a fake crystal that is created by the layers of paint, different types of paint, that build up on equipment inside the Ford manufacturing plant. And then it gets baked together so it's as hard as crystal. And it's not a real crystal, but people treat it like one and cut it like it's a diamond for jewelry. So it's kind of interesting, but I don't think there's a Ford manufacturing facility here to create that. So I don't know where that's going to end up going. There's funky fruit, which doesn't really do anything right now. It's just a 5+5 food that you can eat. There's alcohol, so presumably we'd be able to make alcohol in the not too distant future, either artificially or by fermenting food or fruits or other organic things in a tank. There's Axum etching acid that is in a regular human bottle. So I don't know if we're going to end up having to use this to create some new hybrid technology to etch some Axum superconducting like silicone chips. And then this is the one that I'm the most excited for, the Gateway Crystal, because the Gateway Crystal would imply that there is actually like a way that we can create, where's the exterior stuff, a current ring. I don't know if you remember these. These are like the artificial rings that are supposed to give you a boost. They don't currently do anything besides animate like a fake boost of water. But presumably these gateway crystals, which you see all over by the alien ruins that direction, might be able to make artificial booster rings. Now this is something interesting. This is a geothermal recharger, but it looks like this was an early concept for a geothermal vent that we saw in the hot zone. But perhaps we're going to see a different style of geothermal vent that, now that I look at it, kind of looks like a cartoon nipple. That we might see a different type of geothermal vent in later portions of the game in order to recharge the Trident submarine, but it's hard to say. And then the last thing I wanted to point out was this is in the game, the gigantic alien crystal, which I guess you can scan. The alien metal doesn't really do anything. The alien metal, if I had to guess, obviously I don't think this is going to stay the actual sort of model for it, but I have a feeling that alien metal is going to be an important component in later hybrid technology, but I feel like we're going to have to like break into an alien building, probably guarded by some of those Axum fellas that they were talking about in some of the journals, the tailings, that are going to try to fight us to keep us from messing with it. There's also a lot of questions going on as to what the deal is with the tailings and our relationship with them since the humans were here like 30 years ago, and some of the storyline that we have so far implies that when our ship crashed, before everyone started waking up and getting printed, that we're what caused the calamity or something, but it's hard to say. That's a lot of curious questions that will only be answered by additional story and lore, or possibly retconning of additional existing lore for new lore. Hard to say. But I just thought this was interesting. I kind of dug deep into the list of stuff to see what other new crafting materials might be coming to pair with bismuth, because I think bismuth looks cool. I actually have some in a little box somewhere that's decorative that broke when I moved. But yeah, like, I just think it's cool. This is just kind of a brief look at where things might be going. I hope you found this video interesting. I've been your host, Larry, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye, and hopefully we get patch 1.1 soon for the game. I'll also remind everybody that this is all just guesswork. Like, this is all pre-release materials, so we don't know what's going on with any of this. This is all just a wild guess. I wouldn't even necessarily say an educated guess, because I'm basing usages of materials on real-world things that might not pan out, because this is a fictional game in a fictional universe on a fictional planet. So bye, everybody, and have a good one.